the depths of space, intergalactic wars raged on. The Kree Empire, which had maintained its dominance for centuries, was on the verge of collapse. The Kree, known as the most formidable warriors in the universe, were facing threats from all corners of the galaxy. Amidst the turmoil of rebellions and civil wars, the Kree people found themselves once again in a struggle for existence. Thor, amidst this chaos, commanded the starship Mjolnir. As an Asgardian warrior, his alliance with the Kree was a crucial step in maintaining the balance of the universe. Thor's mighty hammer instilled fear in his enemies on the battlefield, and his leadership and bravery gave hope to his allies. However, the storms within Thor challenged not only his foes but also his own comrades. One morning on the bridge of the Mjolnir, Thor and his crew were en route to Hala, the capital of the Kree Empire. As Thor gazed at the stars through the window of his ship, he noticed Kree warrior Ronan approaching him. Ronan was an old friend of Thor and one of his most trusted allies in this war. "Thor, we're approaching Hala. Do you know what we need to do to prevent the fall of the Empire?" Ronan asked, determination gleaming in his eyes. Thor took a deep breath before responding. "To win this war, strength alone isn't enough, Ronan. Strategy and intelligence are also crucial. We don't know the dangers that await us on Hala. We must learn the Emperor's plans." Ronan nodded. "You're right, my friend. But remember, the Kree's hope lies with you. Lead them and help them win this war." Thor patted Ronan's shoulder in a friendly manner and said, "We'll succeed together, Ronan. We won't let the Kree Empire fall." As the Mjolnir approached Hala, the atmosphere of the planet was lit up by massive warships and explosions. Hala was the heart of the Kree Empire and its largest defense line. Thor parked his ship in the planet's orbit and gave his final instructions to the crew. "Prepare for battle," Thor said loudly. "The fate of the Kree Empire is in our hands. Our enemies may be strong, but we are stronger. We will win this war." Thor and his crew disembarked from the Mjolnir and descended to the planet's surface. The capital of Hala was marked by the scars of war. Buildings lay in ruins, and the streets had turned into battlefields. As Kree soldiers clashed with enemy forces, Thor and Ronan advanced towards the Emperor's palace. Outside the palace, Thor and Ronan encountered enemy forces. The two warriors fought their way through, with Thor's hammer Mjolnir striking like lightning. As enemies fell one by one, Thor and Ronan entered the palace. Inside the palace, the Emperor and his generals were discussing the course of the war. As Thor entered the Grand Hall, he immediately caught the Emperor's attention. The Emperor's face lit up with a smile upon seeing Thor. "Thor, the Asgardian warrior," the Emperor said, his voice authoritative. "Have you come to save us?" Thor approached the Emperor and replied, "Yes, Emperor. I won't let the Kree Empire fall. We will defeat our enemies." The Emperor nodded. "I hope you're right, Thor. This war will determine the fate of not just the Kree, but the entire universe." After a brief conversation with the Emperor, Thor joined the generals to devise strategies to change the course of the war. Plans were made, and all Kree forces mobilized under Thor's leadership. Thor and Ronan led the Kree forces in an assault on enemy lines. On the battlefields, Thor's hammer Mjolnir struck fear into their enemies, while Ronan's forces provided support. The Kree Empire fought with all its might, and the enemies were gradually pushed back. At a critical moment in the war, the enemy forces made an unexpected move and breached the Kree Empire's defense lines. Thor, using all his strength to repel the enemy attacks, was joined by Ronan and other Kree warriors in a final stand. In the midst of the battle, Thor faced off against the enemy leader. The enemy leader, one of the most powerful warriors in the universe, challenged Thor's strength. As the two warriors clashed, lightning and explosions filled the air in a deadly duel. Thor used all his skills to maintain his advantage against the enemy leader. Mjolnir deflected the enemy's attacks, and lightning pierced through the enemy's armor. However, the enemy leader was also formidable and gave Thor a tough fight. Finally, Thor's strength and determination prevailed, and he defeated the enemy leader. As the enemy leader fell to the ground, Thor looked at the cheering Kree warriors. The battle was won, but the victory came at a high cost. The Kree Empire faced immense losses. Thousands of warriors had perished, cities were in ruins, and the people had suffered greatly. After the victory, Thor stayed on Hala to boost the morale of the Kree people and assist in the rebuilding process. Under Thor's leadership, the Kree Empire began to rise again. A new era seemed to be dawning in the universe. The Kree had united during these difficult times, combining their strengths to overcome their enemies. Thor, by preventing the fall of the Kree Empire, had succeeded in maintaining the balance of the universe. However, he knew this was only the end of one battle, and many more struggles awaited them across the universe. As the guardian of Asgard and the Kree Empire, Thor would always remain vigilant. Yet, as the victory celebrations continued, signals of a new threat began to emerge from the distant corners of Hala. The dark forces left behind by their enemies were once again about to descend upon the Kree Empire. Thor, aware of this new danger, did not hesitate for a moment and mobilized with his allies. During the rebuilding process of Hala, Thor and Ronan formed reconnaissance teams to track down the enemies. These teams set out to locate and destroy enemy bases scattered across the galaxy. Thor, along with his team, was planning to hit the most dangerous and strategic targets. During a reconnaissance mission, Thor and his team discovered that the enemies were developing a new superweapon. This weapon had the power to completely annihilate the Kree Empire. Thor immediately took action to destroy this weapon. Using the power and intelligence of Mjolnir, he successfully infiltrated the enemy base. Deep within the base, Thor saw enemy scientists attempting to activate the weapon. Time was running out, and Thor had to act swiftly. He hurled Mjolnir at the enemies, demolishing the laboratory. However, this was only the beginning. He needed to reach the control room and disable the weapon. Battling through enemy soldiers, Thor advanced toward the control room. With each step, he felled his enemies one by one. When he finally reached the control room, he saw the countdown had already begun. Time was extremely short, and Thor couldn't afford to waste a single moment. Thor reached the control panel and tried to disable the weapon, but the system could only be deactivated with a code. Guessing that the enemy leader knew the code, he set out to find him. The enemy leader awaited Thor in another part of the base. The two warriors faced off once more. The fight began at a breathtaking speed. As Thor and the enemy leader clashed with all their might, time continued to run out. Thor eventually managed to overpower the enemy leader and retrieve the code before rushing back to the control room. Just in time, he deactivated the weapon, saving the Kree Empire from utter destruction. With this victory, Thor earned even greater respect from the Kree people. However, he knew this was just another step forward, and many threats still awaited them in the universe. Thor, along with his allies, would continue to fight for peace and justice throughout the galaxy. And so, the saga of Thor and the Kree continued to be told throughout the universe. The fall of the Kree Empire had been averted, and Thor's bravery and leadership echoed across the galaxy. Even though the battles ended, as defenders of peace and justice, Thor and the Kree would always be ready. In the endless darkness of the universe, the stars continued to shine, and the story of Thor and the Kree Empire would never be forgotten. As each new day brought new adventures and challenges, Thor, as the guardian of Asgard and the Kree Empire, would continue to uphold the balance of the universe.